Oh my God, it just cut to me. Cool. Hi, everyone. We're here to discuss Padlock week 2, or I should say Padlock 3 week 2. We're not just discussing any old Padlock season, although we could. It is currently day 19 in the Padlock 3 house. We're about a quarter of the way through with the season at whole, which is weird to think about. And today has probably been the most active day that we have had in recent Padlock history. And unfortunately, we're going to have to spend the first part talking about still an exciting week, but definitely not as exciting as today with a Slade HOH. We got to go all the way back to college HOH reign, where he nominated O'Rear and Macy, and we saw kind of a back and forth affair up until the vote happened, with O'Rear leaving on a 7-4 vote the other night. Obviously, we're going to get into all of last week and what has happened today with Slade's HOH reign. I am Barrett here with other Padlock 3 production members, AJ, Dustin, Cody, Nick, maybe Brett and Alex later. We'll see. We'll find out. At the time, we are live, so if there's anybody in the villa that joins and wants to actually chat, we do have the chat open. So if you want to put more things in the chat, that'd be cool. So I don't know who to start with, but we're gonna have to go over this week 2, the Colin HOH reign. So I'm gonna go to Dustin first. Dustin, if you could summarize Colin's HOH reign in just a sentence or two, how would you describe it?
There was a method to the madness, even though I don't necessarily think there wasn't at the beginning. I think Colin's HOH was made to set himself up. As he said, he wanted to make connections, get himself in a better spot afterwards. And I think he accomplished that goal. Did he make the right moves and not make the right people? Time will tell.
It seemed like when I talked to O'Rear yesterday, the basis was it, because I mean, obviously I couldn't inform him on everything that happened last week, but kind of what it came down to was the fact that he did too little too early. Whereas we saw Macy last week really step up in terms of wanting to call people, wanting to make sure that she got those votes. And she did enough of that where O'Rear didn't. It seemed like, obviously, I don't know 100% of what led to what decision when it came to everything, which is why I'm glad I have you all here to help me piece it all together. But what it seemed like is that Macy specifically got the votes of Sim, and she got the votes of Becky, which we're gonna have to talk a lot about Becky, I feel like, because she's doing things up to the moment that we're talking right now that it's just like, who is Becky aligned with? And we talked about this earlier, and I said Becky is aligned with Becky, and it seems like that's just how it's gonna roll. But going back to what led up to the vote last week, can someone kind of recap what Macy did and maybe what other house guests did to ensure that O'Rear was the one who got the majority of votes falling on him?
I feel like it was more Brady that did everything, or at least got the ball rolling, where he started, misting people into saying like, hey, what happens if we like keep Macy? And then the ball kind of just like spiraled from there. I mean, Macy had all of Cobalt already at the time, which was Jessica, Tasha, Keisha, and Brady. They only needed 2 more at that point. And Brady had some good conversations with Angelica. And I think I think Macy did a good job of talking to Sim. I think Macy was the one that did get Sim's vote, which I don't think anyone was really expecting, but here we are. And then Brady got Angelica, or at least like threw it out there to her. And then Becky, she can say this as much as she wants. I do believe she just wanted to go with the majority on this one. When she realized that Macy was going to stay. But again, Becky, we could talk about Becky's gameplay for like an hour because it's very interesting.
Yeah, it seems like I don't know where Becky's head's at ever. It seems like she, even today especially, she messages her prod chat and it's just like, my game is just tanking right now, everyone. But then she goes and does the exact same thing that got her to this position in the first place. And if Becky were not on the 8-bit bosses, which I feel ridiculous saying that name every time, but if she weren't on the 8-bit bosses, it sure seems like she would be in the most trouble this week. So it's an awkward position for Becky, but leading up to the vote, it was really confusing, especially watching those goodbye messages with O'Rear yesterday, because it seemed like every single one would begin with like, "You're probably not going to see this," and I've never seen that many from someone who ended up going out of the game. And Becky's was just ultra confusing because she filmed it right before the vote. And the whole time it was 2 minutes long, which is too long for a goodbye message. I should have shortened it. I regretted it as soon as it started playing. But it's just so weird to hear her be like, I don't know what to do. And it just so up in the air. And then meanwhile, if you go back and look at her messages from that time, it's the same kind of energy. And then she claims that her vote ended up being casted on O'Rear just due to the fact that she didn't like his speech. He wasn't there for the eviction. Is that really the case with Becky, or what's going on there?
A mess.
Okay, that's fine.
Becky said, I think a day or two before the eviction, that she was going back and forth, and she teetered back and forth. It wasn't a last minute thing. I think if we gave it another hour, she could have flipped back and voted the other way. I think we're not showing up at eviction. I think it is a thing that did sway her to vote him. Or there's many other reasons. It's not just that. So I think her relying on that is too simple of an answer, and I think people will see that.
I think a thing that could easily get overlooked that we definitely talked about earlier in the week is this whole after Tasha won the veto, O'Rear messages her and says, "I'll give you $20 if you use the veto, or don't use the veto." Which option was it? If you use the veto on me?
Yeah, you used the veto on me.
Suddenly that $20 message got turned into the most ridiculous like string of calls with Tasha, with her being like, I just like that crosses a line with them saying that he would offer $20 for her to use the veto. And I think he made fun of it a little bit, but it was interesting to watch Tasha take that route with it when we didn't really expect her to.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, a lot. Like Nick, you probably know O'Rear like one of the best. Like you and Mark probably know him the best out of all of us. But I think we all know that he was 100% joking when he said that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe like 99%. Maybe like 1% if she was like, "Oh, would you?" He'd be like, yeah. What's your Venmo?" Like, but I think it was really fascinating for her to be like, "Oh, like, how dare he?" And I was like, but listen, like I'm personally like anything Tasha says, like she told me to jump off a bridge. Like, see y'all later. I'm jumping off the bridge.
Which one, bitch?
Yeah, like please be more specific. So, like I'm not mad about it. It was just interesting.
We also saw the formation, and I'm guessing, was this on Friday that the plastics came together?
Yeah.
I have the alliance chart for week 2 up whenever you're ready.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We can go ahead and throw that up because I do need a bit of a refresher, and I feel like a lot of these things happened, like we said, like 48 hours leading up to the eviction. That's really kind of the most interesting part of the week. Whereas we're on Sunday, the day after the HOH for the third week, and it probably is going to be the most interesting day. So it might be a little bit of a flip-flop of week in terms of when things are actually going to be interesting. But
you should be able to see it.
Ooh, we saw it for a second. Now we see all of us again.
There we go.
Time's over. Perfect.
Oh
my
God!
Stop. Where's that alliance? So the plastics we got forming together with Tasha, Macy, Jessica, and Angelica. We're gonna have more to talk about the plastics in a little bit, just with everything that has to do with this week. But who do y'all think is the most notable duo so far, just up until day 19?
Yeah, this is is today day 19? Because this is like 2 days unupdated.
Yeah, this is day 19.
I mean, if we want to talk...
I said the day last time on the last roundtable, and I got it wrong, so don't take my word for it.
The only alliance to add is the YOLO Squad alliance. That's the only one that's been added, but... I would say, for me, like, the most notable, like, duo... I would say right now, even before the week started, is Brady and Tasha. I mean, like, right now, they're going for, like, best duo of the season right now. Like, the way that those two play off of each other is fascinating, and we've been seeing it a lot today.
Yeah, I think of the duos, I think those two are the most open with information with each other. You know, I always try to make sure to read Angelica's and Polo's because they always have really good discussions in there. And I think you can't discount that duo. Even though they voted opposite ways, I think that still is a connection that is going to transcend groups.
Right, because Angelica did tell Polo that she was going to do that. So, I don't know. I feel like they're still looking out for each other, even though they're technically on opposite sides. But
Yeah, Polo was the only one to, I guess, vote the other way, but not be blindsided in the process. Alex kind of compared Polo's vote to when Malcolm knew very well that Patrick was staying, but voted him out anyway. Yeah, there's no like awkwardness there, especially with him and Macy, because he told Macy before the eviction that he was going to evict her, right? Okay. As with everyone else on the 8-bit bosses, a little bit of a rougher time, which made the HOH competition that much more fun. Aside from all the Keisha entertainment that we've had in the past 24 hours. But I digress. I don't know what else to talk about with week 2 other than just the last 48 hours, which is just... would you say this was more so Macy's doing? Or like you said, Brady, was he the one that really instigated all of it?
I think Brady is the one that got the ball rolling. However, Macy was a key part in this. If Macy wasn't active, I don't think it would have been able to happen as easy as it did. I think so the good thing to talk about is the resurgence of Sim at this point. Sim came out of nowhere and called with Macy. Macy got Sim to come back. They had a really good call. And once Macy secured Sim, it made her feel like she had a chance. And I think without Sim, the plan wouldn't have happened as easily because I don't think Angelica would have done it without Sim. And then I don't think Becky would have done it, and I don't think they have the votes. Sim was really the key piece for what happened, and I think that goes to Macy.
Yeah, it was weird because it felt like nobody truly believed that they had the majority of the votes. And I feel like that would have been completely tragic if they actually hadn't gone that way just because they thought that they didn't have the votes, and then Macy would be gone and Orir would still be here. But I'm all for the entertainment because Orir really didn't think he was going home. Not that he got mad or anything. His face was just still shocked, as well as we had fake gas from like Angelica, I feel like, and Becky. Yes.
Oh my god. Everyone was immediately calling her out in PMs like, oh my god, Becky's fake gasp. Like,
that's the thing with Becky. I felt like afterwards she was having conversations with like, I think it was Eric, and she was like, who flipped? But then 5 seconds later she's like, you know what, actually it was me. I'm the one who did it. Like, Becky, what are you doing?
He burned that bond in the process, because if you look at Eric's DR, he doesn't want to work with Becky anymore.
I don't blame them.
I think there's like a level of like I love Becky, like I really do, but there also was, I think it was like a genuine like shock because she didn't think it was gonna be 7-4, she thought it was 6-5. So I do believe like, I mean, no one in the cast believes this, but like I believe that like it was like 50% acting, but 50% like, wait, I didn't have to flip, like I didn't have to vote out Orir, so that's my thought on it. But I don't know, Becky's game. Like you could write a college paper on that because that's it's so fascinating to me how it's all like spiraling out of control, but no one can do anything about it because Lade's HOH.
Is there anybody that really took a dip for anyone in terms of how they ranked them? Just going through week 2, is there anyone that you thought, oh my god, after week 1, like they could really go all the way, but now after week 2 you're like, never mind, I don't know why I ever said that. I know we had a Becky winner pick out of left field, but besides Becky, is there anyone that you're just like, I kind of expected more from them up until this point?
Maybe arguably Jessica. I feel like her game is kind of tanking right now. Especially, I guess this is counting week 3, not week 2. But her going on that power trip after the eviction, I think that sealed the deal for her.
I can agree with that.
I think Jessica was giving me major like underdog vibes, especially with her getting picked like last and everything for the teams. And then a lot of people like didn't really like her. And I was like, okay, like she's starting to like pick it up. And now I'm kind of like, maybe not. So yeah, I can agree with that.
I feel like we saw a lot less of Allison in week 2.
A lot less.
Which I know she's like in the process.
She's about to graduate. She said the second she graduates, she's going to be super active more than she was the first week.
Right. When does she graduate?
I think later. I don't know if it's this week or next week. That's for the Brett chat updates, I guess.
Yeah, it is. But Yeah, I think Allison's peeing DR will definitely. I didn't want to
Fucking
overlook it. I
foul.
feel like it needed to be mentioned before we just completely forgot about it altogether.
Oh my god.
She's an enigma.
She really is an enigma, and I hope we get to at least see more of her once she does graduate, because I feel like I need more out of context out. Like the amount of out of context Allison messages that I got compiled in the first week, it was nowhere near the same level the second week. So I need more of it in my life immediately.
Well, you've been getting some like in the past like 48 hours.
True.
I think she's also kind of playing how she should right now by like completely staying low key, because I mean she was on everybody's mind last week.
Mm-hmm. I definitely think Allison could have been in hot water after week 2. People felt kind of iffy on her. She voted in the minority. You know, she is a loud voice, so it's easy to kind of hone in on her, especially that minority group. People like Eric, people like Polo, people like Slade. People don't really like Allison. Now, is that like a sexism thing that's like people don't really know? You know, I'm not really going to speak on that. But of people in the minority, Allison lost the most by voting in minority, in my opinion.
I can agree with that. What else do we need to talk about from week 2 before?
Let's just talk about. We need to talk about the last 48 hours. I think
it's
we need to move on to that.
We desperately do. So Arrear's gone. Let's move on to the HOH competition. It is Puzzle Power, everyone's favorite HOH comp, which has just gotten significantly easier since the first season, and I just hate watching
significantly.
But we had a lot of drama ensue, and my favorite part of the HOH competition was just watching Keisha just do everything in her power to annoy the living hell out of everyone, and it gave me life. And it completely changed my view on Keisha. And I can't even imagine what it would be like being a house guest when it's hard to just get Keisha on a call or to get more than like a sentence or two in response to her, or anything like that, and just see her in this competition be like, all right, KO crew, it's us till the end, live and die by the blue. Like it was completely flipping probably everyone's view of Keisha. And in turn, it made everyone pissed off of it, like especially including Brady. Brady could not want anything less to do with Keisha, I feel like, at this moment in time. But I need everyone else's opinion on the HOH competition, because I'm going to talk about Keisha for an hour.
Pure entertainment, first of all. I also loved when Allison came on after she was already out and was like, why did Macy pick me, or whatever the fuck she said. Hysterical. It's such a great comp. Loved it. Oh, and I don't forget Keisha taking shots too.
Yeah.
Iconic. You totally forgot that whole part.
Yeah, there it is.
So fucking good. So good.
I think the pace of Puzzle Power was set when Slade just immediately took out Brady. And as soon as that happened, it tipped the scales, and they had a clean shot to the end at that point.
Brady being the first knocked out, I fucking gasped.
That was wild.
Obviously, that has repercussions into today. But when Macy took out Allison messaged Macy and was just like, you want to talk about it? And which is great in itself. And the whole time, all the messages were just filled with, what is Keisha doing? Like, because Keisha wasn't even competing at half the rounds. It was mainly just her wanting to spread her loyalty. But obviously, we see the Team Cyan, also known as the 8-Bit Bosses, with 3 members left, just completely decimating the entire game. And it's just like, what was the reason they were all able to get to the end together? Was it just a combination of Slade killing the competition, and at the same time, other teams being like, well, we can't go after them yet. There was only 3 of them, until it was too late and they couldn't go after him? Is that really what happened?
I think it was, I don't know, really. I think a lot of people, actually, I do know. I lied. I think a lot of people were just expecting the 8-Bit Bosses just to like be targeted by default, because we saw a lot of house guests that got eliminated early. They were like, I had like 3 puzzles done and was stockpiling them. So like I I think it was because like a lot of the people that were going to do well in this competition puzzle wise got eliminated and were just like too focused on the stockpiling strategy aspect and not focusing on, okay, let me just eliminate someone and then just go from there.
Yeah. The Magentas and Cobalt lost their strongest players at the beginning, besides Polo, but Polo was not taking out Team Cyan. So it really left an opposition that was Jessica, who couldn't complete one wall sit, which we get it happens, but she couldn't complete a wall sit.
Yes, it does happen. Let's not shame people for it.
I'm not going to shame anyone for it. You had Keisha, who knew that she couldn't, even though she could complete wall sets, couldn't do the puzzle. She wouldn't do the puzzle on her phone, and she couldn't complete a puzzle. She just proposed to ignore people. Tasha didn't understand the assignment, evidently. And then Macy, who was doing it, but got taken out early because she was like Brady and knew what to do. So really, it was those three, like this Team Cyan versus Keisha, Tasha, and Jessica. Not really a strong opposition there, to be honest.
I find it ironic because going into this comp, I figured, the deck would be stacked in favor for a Cobalt win, and then it just all fell apart. Every single aspect of it fell apart for them.
Yeah, I feel like we've definitely seen the dismantling of Team Cobalt in the past 24 hours. And
KO Crew, please put respect to the name.
KO Crew. Well, they're about to be KO'd this week. It is their KO time.
Put F in the chat.
Yeah, it is the bomb squad blowing up time. Yeah, that was a wild sequence, which ended with, of course, Becky, Slade, and Eric all in the final three. And now, are they atop like the leaderboards? I haven't really.
They have the highest average right now because they already had some points, but with them only being 3 people and them all having points, it raised their average quite a bit. I think they're, as of right now, before veto, their average is 3. Magentas is 2.4, and Cobalt's is 1 with Tasha's 5 points.
And they all agreed to throw it to Slade in the end. But I think another thing with Becky is like she keeps telling people that she wanted it. Like she could have won if she wanted to, and she wanted the HOH. She didn't want to throw it, and they're all just like, "We watched you do it. We watched you tell Slade he could have it. Why are you doing this? There's no point."
Yeah, I think Puzzle Power is always going to be a competition in Padlock history that is just like notoriously good at bringing out true colors in people, because we planned it out so good this season. I don't know who in production put it on week 3. I think it was Brett, but I think the timing of it was perfect, because if you had done this like a week later or a week before, the timing would be like a little off. But I think with how the week 2 eviction went and then 24 hours, okay, you have to openly strategize in a knockout style competition. It just like opens the game wide open, and that's kind of what we've been watching the past 24 hours.
Yeah. It was perfect, and you're right, because I feel like most of the calls today, most of kind of the conflicts that have been happening, a lot of them are rooted in that game last night. Like whether they would have admitted or not, a lot of it was just you knocked me out, or this person was saying this, or it all has something to do with Puzzle Power, which just goes to show that it's the most tormenting game that's ever been invented, which is fine by me. I'm just happy everyone got to do 1 minute of wall sits. I'm just happy we're all here today.
All Stars, it's gonna be whatever Puzzle Power is for All Stars. Like it's gonna be hard. Like All Stars is gonna be like just really difficult. I'm just letting it be known now.
Fine then, jeez. But moving on from that, obviously last night we had a house call that was pretty much fueled by Keisha and Becky playing code names, but also them just like blindly saying things that didn't make sense. Like I think it was Keisha that was like, I think Polo and Brady should go up on the block or something. Like I think it was something like that. She's like, you're on a house call. Or I think it was Keisha that said this.
It was Keisha.
Okay.
Keisha felt like, well, he's just going to nominate one person from each team again, right?
Yeah.
Right? Like, it was very much, they don't understand. Like, you should not shout us on a house call, because I wish Slay would have got on Polo would have hopped on the house call while they were saying that, because it would have been so good. But I think there is just that competition brings out the worst people because you're out and then you're annoyed and you hear Keisha screeching that can't do wall sits and you're just upset. And I think Brady getting out first and then having to watch his team flounder, it just made him be more upset. And I think he's still on that point now. Ever since he got knocked out first, he has not been the same man over the last 24 hours.
And Tasha has made a comment about that because of like everything that's happened today. I think Tasha told Slade, she was like, I don't recognize this person. I mean, we all do, but you know, for someone like Tasha who's never, or like Barrett who's never met Brady before, they're like, who is this? Like, is this normal? And like, it is completely normal.
It was just so exciting today. So, I mean, obviously Slade was leaning Tasha and Brady. We were saying that last night too. And that has gone into today. Slade has had his rounds of calls with everyone pretty much saying the exact same script every time of just, I don't want to go into this call with some promise that was said beforehand or blah, blah, blah. He had some script that he said to everyone. So he's doing a good job in terms of just making sure he communicates with the people he needs to communicate with. But that wasn't going to work on Brady because by the time we get to Brady's call earlier this afternoon, Brady beforehand already in his prod chat was just like, I'm not going to take his bullshit. Like if he told me last night that he wasn't going to nominate me after he won, which is kind of true, but really the message was more like, I'm sorry I knocked you out first. If you can forgive me, I won't nom you, which is good enough to be like, yeah, you tell me, yeah, I was going to have safety. Again, I don't know why Slade did that. That seems like such a weird thing, especially when he was going to be leaning that way so early on in the first place. I digress. That call with Brady really sparked everything because Brady didn't want to let Slade get his little script out and the whole I'm just trying to figure out information and stuff. Brady just came out and said, I think you're just full of it, you know? I think I know you're going to nominate me, so I don't know why you're pretending that you're not nominating me. And it was the most exciting call I've watched in a long time. I don't know what else to say on it at this moment, but I want to know everyone else's thoughts on Brady, Slade, and the impending house drama that followed right after that call and up until right now, because we have 60 some odd chats that keep updating on the left side of my screen. I need thoughts.
I think it's, I don't know. I think it's really, really like fascinating seeing like the fallout of everything. I think like everyone that was on the Slade Brady call, we were like kind of like multitasking, like kind of like just listening in, and then all of a sudden Brady's like, well, I think you're full of shit. And we were all like put our phones down, like, what did you just say?
We all leaned in.
It was so good.
They were all like,
it came out of nowhere. Like I just like was like gonna stream it because I was like home and doing like whatever, and I was like, all right, like they're about to hop on call, cool. And then all you hear is like, well, I think you're full of shit. And then like the ending of the whole thing to him being like, I like your shades, by the way. Yeah. And like, it was just so fucking funny. And like, oh my God, it was such a great call. It was so good. Everything I needed.
His anger has been so back and forth. I feel like, sorry, AJ, but like, I feel like he's posted in that he did that. He's like, your shades are cool. And then just hung up the call. He posted that picture of him, obviously on the clown, which we can read verbatim what that said if we need to. And then he messages Slade privately, and it's just like, was that too much? If it was, I can delete it. And Slade's like, no, I don't care. and then calls Keisha out in the house chat, and then messages Keisha, and it's just like, was that too much? I'm sorry, I can delete it if you want me to. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
I think we can also like, I want to transition into talking about the Tasha Slade call that just happened like not even an hour ago. So basically, you know, Tasha's going into a bit like at this point, like Tasha and Brady are being nominated. Tasha goes into a call with Slade and is basically talking about, you know, why am I being blamed for this when I didn't orchestrate over here going home. I was just, you know, saving my teammate. And then Slade goes on his reasoning why he can't put up Jessica because it would piss off Macy. And then Tasha goes, well, Jessica made this 4-person girls alliance to make sure Angelica flipped. And Slade was like, what you say? And it was just like, it was really, really good. Like Tasha at the beginning of the call was not doing so good in saving herself. but then like immediately did like a full 180 and threw just like buried Jessica in the process. And I think like one thing that like solidified Tasha as like, if Tasha makes it out of this week and Brady doesn't, Tasha would win villain of the season, because Slade was like, "Oh, Jessica didn't tell me this," and Tasha's like, "Well, Tasha's telling you."
Yeah,
It was
I was
so good.
gobsmacked.
So it was another one of those moments where we all just stopped what we were doing and we were like, "Wait a minute, this is kind of good."
I mean, truly though, I think Slade is making the right move in terms of, if you're going to have a person to go up alongside Brady that's the closest to Brady, Tasha's the perfect person. But Tasha's going to try her best to say, "No, you're making the worst move ever," and that's essentially what it was. Welcome, Brett.
Hi.
But Cody, you led that DR with Slade right after that call. And I didn't really get to see most of it, but what did he say kind of in relation to that call, in terms of like, I think I joined right as he was talking about Jessica specifically, but how is that call really set with him?
So he was really taken aback by all that information. It was like the you could actively see on his face, like the wheels were still turning in his head about everything that had just been said to him. I feel like he still wants to lean towards the Tasha thing. So we'll see how that pans out. But he did say that he might, on the call he had said, he might back away from that if Tasha gives him the go ahead to just blow up the Girls Alliance spot, which transition to after that was the call. I think actually was going on at the same time, was the Tasha Brady call, where Brady was like, "Do it, blow up the Girls Alliance. I don't give a shit."
Yeah, Brady has no regard for others today, especially Macy, which is something that we hadn't mentioned yet, because Macy posted a public DR. We'll just have it be like a weekly thing from now on, I think. But it was up for like a full day because it was one that she posted last night. Brady sees it today, messages her that she has it. Meanwhile, Macy's on a call with, I think she was on a call with Slade at that point.
Yeah, she was.
She's being messaged by Brady, and then Brady tells Tasha about the public DR, and then Tasha's messaging Macy. They're both trying to call her to get her attention. The whole time Macy's on call with Slade, just like, "Why is that my Skype chat?" And she has no clue until she gets off the call with Slade. But unlike with Jessica saying that she didn't watch any of who was the first person that posted public? Keisha. Okay. Any of Keisha's DR. Brady watched all of Macy's that she posted, and told Tasha about it. And that was, and that also was something that Tasha brought up to Slade on call too, was that whole public DR, which I think was a lesser of a point that she could have made. But she just kind of threw it in there, I think, to put the icing on the cake.
It was like a yes. It was like a yes, and it was like, okay, yes, this did happen, and Macy like confirms it in this DR that I didn't watch, but Brady did.
That's what was funny, because Tasha got on call with Macy, and Macy was like, "Tasha, did you watch it?" And Tasha was like, "No, that's so disrespectful." And then Macy was like, "Well, Brady watched it," and Tasha's like, "Oh." Okay, cool. Brett, I should say welcome.
Hello.
I don't know if you've seen the craziness that's gone on today, but
I've seen some of it. But like then I had kickball, went to the bar, and then all of
such. Well, essentially what it boils down to, we've got Brady and Tasha going up tomorrow, most likely. But
figured.
But we've got some fire brewing between Brady and Slade, and then we have Tasha pretty much pleading with Slade. So a lot of
pleading in what capacity?
Just not to go up alongside Brady. Brady's the for sure going up. Tasha's trying to push Jessica up against him. And
what's interesting is, if Jessica does find out that she's getting all this information thrown on her, she got a key piece of information today from Colin about the opposing alliance, the YOLO squad. So we could see a domino of the Girls Alliance gets blown up. Well, she's like, well, if you're blowing up this alliance, I'm going to blow up this alliance. And everything is going to be out in the open here soon. It's only a matter of time, I think.
Which we haven't talked about Colin that much, so we can kind of transition into that. Colin got off really scot-free with his HOH, And if he like just sat there this week, like he would be fine going into, spoiler alert, the instant. But then Colin today randomly leaked this alliance that the HOH is a part of and pretty loyal to Jessica, who we all know if she has one white claw, everything's coming
Right,
out.
everything's coming out.
So I think I agree. I think what's going to happen in the instant is somehow it gets wind to Jessica that the Girls Alliance gets leaked, especially if Slade nominates Jessica as either a renom or just first before veto period, and then Jessica leaks this, because what Tasha and Brady are really confused on are why is like people like Allison getting off scot-free, why is Angelica getting, or not Allison, why is Angelica getting off scot-free, and like things like that, which like I think like the most powerful alliance in the game right now is the YOLO squad, which has Allison, Colin, Eric, Polo, and Slade. Like that is the most well-rounded, well-connected group, and they're all like, okay, well Slade, you can't, like, I don't want you to nominate these people, and then Tasha and Brady are kind of just like sitting here.
Yeah, I think also if Jessica tells Tasha or Brady, they are going to expose it and sail Jessica down the river. Like, if Jessica needs to keep that information closed right now, and I just don't think she can't do that. I don't think it's only a matter of time. And if Tasha or Brady find out, Jessica's fucked. Absolutely fucked, because they will immediately call Slade and be like, "Oh, what's this alliance that you're in?" And Brady will do it in a really condescending way too. So
I think if anyone has to do it, I think Brady needs to step back and let Tasha do it, because Tasha can do it in a more genuine, reasonable stance. Because if Brady doesn't like this negative connotation and like passive tone, it's not going to do anything. Like the information will be useless. But if Tasha's like, "Hey, like I'm being told this, and like I want to be like I want to be straight up with you. I want to work with you. I feel like I have to tell you this," and she like presents it that way, I think Slade will see that Tasha can actually be like a genuine ally for him, which if there weren't teams, I feel like Tasha and Slade would work together.
Do Brady and Tasha know about Jessica's drunken rants with like Polo and whoever the fuck else Jessica called?
I think
I'm
pretty sure they do.
I did the thing.
I think they do, and I think they're trying to sell that to Slade. I can't remember. There's been a lot of, someone mentioned it today on a call, but I don't remember who it was. But it's pretty well known within the house.
I know Polo knows, but I wasn't certain who else knew, because I feel like that's kind of going to be, that may be a clincher. I mean, I'm assuming Tasha and Brady go up tomorrow, but at the same time, I'm assuming by same virtue that one of them is coming down come Wednesday. Because I can't see a situation in which both of them stay on the block.
Yeah, I mean, the veto with Vito. Hold on, Vito is.
Also, what's Vito again this week?
It's memory flip. It's the one that I won, and after using the force key on Barrett. Who's counting? Anyway, it's a veto that, if you have a mild brain cell, you can win.
Yeah, I think Brady or Tasha do take it home. I think the only people that could maybe give them a run for their money are like literally the whole YOLO squad. I think could win it. Like Eric, Allison, Polo,
they could get a really good veto draw though. There's a lot of
watch the veto draw be like Macy, Keisha, and like
Sim.
Yeah. And no offense to any of those people that we just named. It's just based off of what we've seen so far. We don't know what memory is like. However, you never know. I mean, the HOH yesterday was wild because the 3-person team were the last 3 people. So, I mean, literally anything could happen.
I know I was late to the game, but did we already discuss how the fuck that a minority alliance managed to finagle getting not even like Allison was the only one who got chopped. The rest of them made it to the end. I don't know, how did that happen? It
has been discussed. It was because we'll say what we said. Because what happened was Brady got knocked out very early. And then, Polo was not targeting Cyan at the time, and Angelica was stockpiling. So, there wasn't really anyone truly going for Cyan, and just like, okay, I'm done with this. I'm immediately submitting it.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I think this goes back to the fact that, yes, Brady has a team that are loyal foot soldiers. However, shit's hitting the fan right now. They're all yelling at each other. And Brady even said this yesterday, he has the weakest team physically.
Yeah, it's literally Tasha is the only one who has any sustenance to her. And then the rest of them are just mouthpieces.
Macy has some. She did do well in the competition last night. However, I think overall, though, Brady has a huge uphill battle in front of him because he could survive this week, but he's still in hot water and his team still is weak. And most likely, the only way they're going to get safety is if him or Tasha win HOH.
Yeah, they are the fundamentals.
Also, like someone from KO, like all nominees this week, renom included, are from KO crew, so they can't even switch off their own team.
Mm-hmm.
And if Tasha gets evicted, their average of the leaderboard goes down to 0.
Yeah, exactly. I know it's very appetizing to get rid of her this week, and honestly, if Tasha does get evicted week 3, she kind of is on par with the Amanda of it all, where it's someone who had the entire world in their hands, but it just didn't work out. It was
the 1 week, the one person that won. It's just how it happens.
Yeah, I don't care. Like Tasha could quit. Tasha could be like she could yell expletives and disenfranchise a nation. Tasha is an all-star. I don't care. She just is.
Yeah.
Preseason for Tasha during the cast reveal.
Yeah.
Everyone is super confident in Tasha for this season, which means that everyone has effectively jinxed her and she'll be the Amanda.
Yeah, I know, and it's shitty for that reason, but at the same time, like the reasons why Tasha is in hot water isn't entirely like I feel like with Amanda it was avoidable, and with Tasha, I mean, I guess just general activity level, just in being like overzealous and like really just chatting with everyone, sure. But not a lot of people are doing that. And so in terms of like the cast as a whole, I don't really fault her that much for being in the position that she's in. I really don't.
She got unlucky with the team that she got, especially because she got 4th in the leadership, like the first competition. I think if she was a captain, she would have picked a much stronger team. I think she got a lot of things went wrong for Tasha. I think she has the ability to recover from it, where I don't think Jessica or Brady or Becky or a lot of people that are struggling from what happened yesterday are going to be able to recover from it.
There was a dimension change.
So I think Tasha has a chance.
I'm just keeping everyone alert. Just
I thought Alex was coming in or something.
I think
no.
I think that there's like, I want to say like 3 people right now that are doing really well this week in terms, and I mean this week is in like the last 24 hours. Well, 2.5. I think Eric and Allison are doing a really good job of just shutting the fuck up and just like letting shit happen. Like they're literally like, we've not heard anything from them the past 24 hours. Well, Allison the last 7 days, but
why would they?
Yeah, exactly. Why would they? Like Eric has no reason to. He's safe. He's just like, I'm just gonna hang out. Allison's literally been like just hanging out the past like 3 days, which I'm surprised no one's called her a floater because she really hasn't done a whole lot. And then Colin, I say, is the kind of the half because he was like pretty chill until he leaked his really solid alliance to Jessica, which is why I have Colin and Jessica as one of my notable duos, because like you don't tell someone that unless you really trust them with that information.
Why you say that? It's kind of early to be like, oh yeah, it's leaked, noticeable, blah blah, because like week 1 was nothing because it was obviously gonna be shot, and then week 2 was really our first gameplay week, and now we are a week and 2 days into the second full gameplay week.
Yeah.
From gameplay standards.
Yeah. And also Colin has that alliance with Jessica and Becky, which has not been really much active recently. However,
when that was made though, oh my God, that was the most chaotic call I could ever see. Like Becky, Jessica, and Colin should not legally allowed to be in the same place together. Like But I mean, it was fun because they were like, we're getting rid of everyone. They were just all just out of their mind at that point. And they're like, we're getting rid of everyone. I love you both. It's like, this is right after Colin won HOH, right? That they made all of this.
And that's chat not been used since.
It was fun while it lasted, though. But no, if there was ever a time, it was like they all went there to promote the worst parts of all of their games, and they could just speak out into existence whatever they wanted with no repercussions. That's what it felt like, which was fun, but I hate that they're not doing it anymore. What was that chat even called?
Two moms and their Manny.
Yeah, and their Manny.
Still better than Badonkadonks.
I mean, what is it? There's literally no alliance that is that's worse than that.
I will not defend the name, okay?
We have an alliance literally titled Group with Brady, Macy, and Sid.
And
That is still
better.
better.
It's kind of a good name. I have to stand, to be honest.
It like encompasses those three so well.
Group.
Yes, the clown.
There it is.
There's the house chat today. Obviously, we have the clown. That was the poor. So like, get a little bit more effort, okay? I asked Slade in his DR. I was like, "What'd you think about your face being on the clown?" And he was like, "Honestly, he could have done more." But which I agree. It's just like the laziest thing he could have done.
Yeah.
Brady, I got to dock you a couple points for that. But it was just chaotic for that reason. But I think the one that really came out of left field was when he came after Keisha in this chat. It ended at, wait, is it still here?
Did you delete it?
Wait, what did I miss? Like,
No,
what?
scroll up. It's up.
There it is.
Oh, okay. Phew.
Let me just look at everything.
Okay. Brett, I forgot that you hadn't like seen all of this.
Yeah, wait, the fuck happened?
Okay.
So basically, what happened was Brady came for Slade in the house chat, and Slade was just like, "Why are you coming for me, man?" And like, it was basically just like small banter, nothing really too crazy, nothing was exposed or anything like that. And everyone was just like, that was kind of random. And then, you know, Keisha comes into the chat like, why can't we all just love each other? Like, I'm team everyone, but more specifically team, you know, KO crew. You know, I love my team. And then Brady was like, okay.
And it's Team City.
Yeah, so it was nothing insane, but it's like the only like house fight we've had so far. So we were all like, oh my God.
Oh, shit. And then she just responds with 2 purple hearts.
Queen.
Yeah,
Exactly.
She deserves a purple heart.
I feel like she doesn't know how to process it. Oh, it's 3 on this screen.
Is Brady intentionally talking as if he's on the circle, though? That is what we would like to know.
Right? Hashtag aligned with Slade.
I mean, the hashtags are kind of...
It's funny.
Do you love Team KO, Keisha?
It's the sending love for me.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how I feel about all this. It was just
honestly, that was like, I mean, unnecessary, kind of like not a good move because it like, I mean, already it was going to be a short list between Jessica, Brady, and Tasha, but you are just further cementing she is not an option.
Yeah, I was just like, Keisha's antics, I think, during HOH, like, kind of kept her safe.
Yeah, but I think the funny part of that is that it was completely accidental. Like, she just like was overzealous for no fucking reason, like to her own detriment, but also to her own success. And so like it's the way that it's she won the lottery by accident.
Yeah, I feel like everyone else was going in to the HOH last night with the energy of like, this is war, and Keisha went into it with like the energy of this is like the Disney Channel games, and I'm just supposed to show team pride and we're all gonna have fun, and that's what she rolled with.
Yeah, but that wasn't an intention. She went into it as this is war, and then she spoke it vocally, and then everyone's just like, oh God, you're just so cute, and you know, you do lawyer things, Elwood, so you fucking do that shit. And
while they're doing wall sit, she's fucking pounded down shots.
Which is the most perfect thing she could have
She's
done,
so-
honestly.
I overuse this word, but she's the definition of iconic.
Stop it. No.
Really
No.
is.
Use a new word. Use a new word.
She's legendary.
Thank you. Okay.
I'm
Better.
also curious. So she came into the HOH. Keisha, I'm talking about Keisha still. She came into the HOH competition like even before like we had started. She's like, "KO crew, like y'all know the plan." Did they have a plan? Like I don't think they had a plan
They
the whole
did.
time.
No. I think the plan was to not target each other.
I was like still on camera and I was like, am I missing something? Like I was confused.
I
But,
just think that she's like shitty at game, and she is there before the grace of God.
She literally had the intro video where she's like, why don't we play the game where nobody gets evicted and we'll all just stay for 75 days together and it'll be perfect.
She's the circle. She wants to play the circle.
She's in good with Slade. That's all that matters. That is 100% what matters this week. She's in good with Slade. That's it. That's what
Slade
it is.
loves her too. So
Yeah.
And I understand where Brady's coming from in terms of like seeing Keisha do all that and then hearing how much Slade loves Keisha. I can understand his sentiment of being like, is Keisha working with it? Like, what the fuck is going on? Was she doing that on purpose?
That's so random. Yeah, like
she goes out of her way to be arbitrary, so it's like it just none of it makes sense. But hey, she's gonna be in week 5 or whatever the fuck. What is this, week 3? She's gonna be week 4. She's not getting taken out in the instant. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah,
she's
we'll
be
get
a
full month of
for
Keisha.
sure.
That's a good transition. So, we have the instant coming up on Wednesday, which the timing of it is absolutely incredible. And then the fast forward on Friday. So, with the fast forward coming up on Friday, like who do y'all think is gonna be going from that?
Becky, I don't know.
I'd say Becky, Sam, Allison would be my top 3 picks.
No, it's all gonna be the shittiest outcome. So I think Tasha goes on Wednesday for no reason, and then fucking who's awful?
oh my god, Brad.
Who is awful, Brett? I really want to know.
I love all of them. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say that. So I think Tasha goes on Wednesday because that's just like the luck of life. And then on Friday, I think that Eric's not winning. I think Becky wins HOH on Friday, and then somehow through the aftermath we lose someone like Angelica. Like we're gonna be at the worst disadvantage ever, where we are just gonna keep losing people who are awesome.
I feel like we could lose Jessica this week, not
Yeah.
Tasha or Brady. And then I think we're gonna lose Becky in the fast forward. That's where
I think Becky is like a solidified boot in the fast forward, except if Becky wins HOH or if Brady or Tasha win HOH. If one of them or both of them make it past this week and win HOH, I think they're like, all right, it's the fast forward. I'm going after the big guns. I think they're not going to waste it on Becky. Do they not like Becky? Absolutely. They hate Becky, but they're like, everyone hates Becky. Like, why would...
It's curious because Puzzle Power is not too unlike an eliminator competition, because you're doing the puzzle of the bitch that you want to go out. So when you are in the eliminator and you go, okay, I want X and Y to go up. Those are people that, however innocuous your intentions may be, those are people that you're both fine with not winning HOH. And so I just have a feeling that it's gonna not. I don't think there's gonna be a reversal. I think that Eric or Polo or Allison will win the fast forward HOH, because everyone else is just going to be too incapable of managing.
Anyone could win the HOH for the fast forward because it is a knockout competition.
Yeah,
and
if you won, we know.
Yeah, so it's up in the air for who could win the HOH, which is why I'm so excited to host it on Friday.
Yeah, I feel like at the very least with Becky, I'd be shocked if she's just not a default nom for everyone. Like, maybe she won't go, but I feel like it would be hard for her not to at least get on the block during it, unless she wins HOH. But if she does, holy shit, that would be incredible. But,
and
Or
I
if
think
Eric wins.
yeah, or if Eric wins.
I think with Becky, like Becky, when you go back and watch this, we're not hating on you for any particular reason. I think it's how the cast is perceiving your gameplay is how it's going down, because us as production, we understand mostly what your intentions are with your like the moves and like what you've been saying. I don't think the cast is understanding that. So when we're talking about Becky being
more
like
forthright and decisive, that's just me.
Yeah, when we're talking about Becky being like the fast forward boot, it's just because no one can trust Becky right now.
Yeah,
Correct. She made herself a target, but fortunately for her, her team won for this week. But I don't think that anyone is necessarily relying on Becky overall for literally anything, because I don't know. It's everyone who needed anything last week. They were like, "Hey, Becky, I think that I'm cool with you. Will you do this?" And she was like, "I don't know. I gotta think a lot of things. I don't know." And then everyone's like, okay, well, fuck this. I apparently can't trust Becky for literally anything. And it wasn't even that like she made a decision one way or the other. It was that she wouldn't do it. So everyone was like, okay, why would I spend an hour on this when I can spend 15 minutes with Sim and get a vote that way?
Yes.
Everybody nods.
I was like, yeah.
I remember Becky brought out the whiteboard last week, and then
God.
analyze.
We didn't talk about that.
She's neurotic.
I didn't see it, but I just saw messages of people being like, "Why the fuck does Becky have that whiteboard?"
Hold on. I took a picture of it on my phone. Hold on.
Have the whiteboard. Don't show the whiteboard. What the fuck are you doing?
You don't show the whiteboard.
The whiteboard is impressive.
Hold on, I don't know if it's gonna auto adjust, but like
you don't show it.
Yeah. What?
I don't know if the camera sucks.
It's just white light, but yeah.
Unfortunate. It's her showing it to Brady, and Brady's smiling. He's like,
I mean, do the thing. Be calculated. Show fucking everything. Like, do the fucking PEMDAS and everything. But don't show other bitches what you're like calculating. What are you doing? What are you doing, lady?
Yeah. It was just so fascinating to me because they kept talking about like what was it, like the whiteboard theory or something like that, and I was like, that's week 2. That's if you're titling week 2, that's what it's called. Yeah, and it's like I think Tasha's brought it up to. I forgot who she brought it up to, or Tasha and Angelica brought it up to someone there. They're like, oh, if you were telling Becky something, like just know she's writing it down.
They were talking about it in the plastics. I'm pretty sure about how she had the whiteboard. And everything.
Yeah, like it's like known, which is another thing that has just not gone well for Becky.
You shouldn't ever advertise that you are in a pivotal position. For example, the swing vote. You should never be like, I have power to determine the fate of how a certain round of an org goes. Because then at that point, it's like, okay, well, fuck this bitch. We're going to go out of our way to circumvent that. But also, at the same time, you're going out of your way to label yourself as malleable or as someone who is kind of arbitrarily making these decisions. And so I understand Becky's thought process behind that. She was kind of stuck between O'Rear and Macy. But at the same time, it just kind of made no sense for her to go and advertise her position to everyone. Like she really should have kept that close to her chest and not bothered with the rest of the minutia. And just people feel the way that they feel about her right now because of how she portrayed herself. Versus if she just shut the fuck up like a normal human being and gone out of her way to been like, you know what? I do want to keep Macy, but my team is over here. But I'm going to keep that to me. Like if she could just start with that, no one would have had her name in their mouth. She is only fine this week because Slade won HOH. She is here, but for the grace of God, and that's it.
She's kind of reminding me that crunchy meme photo of Animal from the Muppets where it says, "I will choose to cause problems on purpose." She's very much that energy.
Do we want to move into updating our like winner picks? I don't know if we want to move into that.
Our winner picks, or as RT typed in the chat, our padlocks. For the
Oh my God,
for the late game.
Yeah, I like
RT.
That's this whole ranking system with the padlock and the unlock and the fuck lock and all that. Like, it's great.
The fuck lock, yes.
I mean, I'm firmly in the fuck lock. Like, he puts me there every week. It's great.
To do our padlocks for this week, we're also going to have to remember our picks that we had last week, which of course I didn't write them down at all. But I don't remember half of everyone's, except making sure that everyone wanted to pick Becky again. But I know I had Polo for my last pick. And even though I'm less confident about Polo, I don't feel like I am not confident enough about him to move away from choosing him. So I'm going to go for the third week in a row, Polo, as my padlock. Why is this so damn catchy, RT? Damn you. All right. AJ.
My preseason week 1 and week 2 winner picks were Eric Goins. I'm sticking with Eric Goins because several reasons. First of all, he does own my ass. Second of all, I think Eric's doing a really good job of being like in the middle in terms of like threat level. Like we have, Brady and Tasha are like pretty up there for threats right now, as well as like people like Polo. Slade's going up there with this week. I think Angelica is eventually going to be up there. Allison's going to eventually go up there. And I think Eric's just going to be that person that's everyone's going to always need Eric's vote. And I think he just the only thing he needs to work on right now is being friendly with those on the other side of the house, because I think those on the other side of the house are not even like considering him an option as a swing. That's Angelica and Polo right now. But I think Eric's in a really good spot right now.
All right. Cody, who are you picking as your padlock?
Well, because I'm chaotic and crazy, last week I picked Becky, and I was sure as fuck I'm not doing that again. This week, I'm going to have to agree with every single point AJ made, except the fact that he does not own my ass. But I am going to pick Eric Goins as well. I feel like medium threat level, social, everybody else got all these messy things going on. I was almost going to say Colin, but I think Colin snitching out the alliance he got added to is going to really fuck him in the long run. So I'm going to go and double down and say Eric.
All right. Solid choice, Nick.
I wasn't here last week, but I did have Brady, which is kind of awkward now. So I'm gonna have to switch it up and go back to Tasha. I think that we saw a little fight in Tasha today that we're gonna continue to see throughout the week. And I don't think she's gonna go home, no matter who she's next to. And I have faith in this bitch. And I think what we saw today is the Tasha we're gonna get from the rest of the season. And she's gonna win. So
Tasha mentioned it, and maybe that'll keep her through the week. I don't know.
Exactly.
But odds are, Nick, Brady and Tasha probably aren't both going to go this week. So if you just wanted to go Brady and Tasha, which one?
You're both leaving?
No, I said both can't go, at least through Wednesday. So if you want to pick both of them as a duo.
They have been alternating from like week to week for my winner picks. Like preseason, it was Tasha. Then it switched to Brady. Then it switched back to Tasha. And now I think I'm going to keep it as Tasha. They're my faves. So
I want to say she did have like a winner edit quote on her call with Brady today, where she said, "Ooh, this might be my last org ever, so I'm just gonna completely step out of my comfort zone and do something different." That is like winner mentality in my opinion.
That's what I'm saying. Like the energy she's giving is like so good. And
you gotta come at the game like it's your last one. You just do.
Yeah. So if we had that recorded, I would like to use that at some point to.
I think I did record it.
Okay, we are keeping. We need to use a lot of these for. Okay. Anyway, sorry. We can move on.
Yes, I'll stick with Tasha, but Brady's kind of in there too. So yeah.
All right, Brett.
Who were my last few?
I think Colin was your first.
No, you're a liar. It was always Tasha. He's full of shit. Tasha is. I mean, Colin is on standby. The second that Tasha leaves, Colin is my number one. I love you, Colin. Tasha, she's a real bitch. She's gonna win veto this week. She's gonna blow them all out of the water. She's gonna get it in 31 guesses while everyone else has like 36 or some dumb shit fucking guess count. Tasha's gonna be fine. I have faith in the girl. She says that she's gonna volunteer to leave if Brady and her are on the block at the end of the week, but I don't think that's going to be the case because I just feel like if Brady and Tasha are the noms, one of them's coming off. Like it does not matter. One of them will come off the block just because neither of them fuck around and the people that fuck with them do not fuck around. So one of them's coming off for sure.
That is an interesting note that we didn't bring up, that Tasha definitely told Brady that she would just tell everyone to vote her out if both of them are on the block at the end of the week, which is actually Wednesday. But I don't know how that sits well if she actually tries to do that. Because the thing is, now she'd only have about 10 minutes to do it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be the same case if it's in the heat of the moment like that.
Someone remind me because I forgot. When we did the instant last season with Amanda going out, how long did they have to talk about it before they had to vote? Was it 5 minutes? It was 10 minutes?
They got 10 minutes.
Okay, just making sure because when I do it on Wednesday, I want to make sure I'm keeping consistency.
Yeah, because I remember first season it was 10 minutes because it was the most awkward 10 minutes of just like, why are we doing this? Which is unfortunate. Yeah. Brett didn't show up until finale.
I know, because I was like, okay, because we didn't know it was a thing, so I was like, okay, was I the HOH that thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, it's Wednesday, it's date night with Alex, anyway, bye, and then they were like, anyway, it's an instant, we're gonna put one of them off right now.
That's the only time during an instant Dustin and I haven't cared because it was an odd amount of people voting and you were HOH.
Yeah, right, so. Exactly. So like it didn't matter.
Yeah. But we were Dustin and I at the time were also testing the concept of like fake veto meeting.
Sorry to sidetrack, but on the topic because she was just talked about, Amanda just won Conquest.
She won the season?
She won.
Really?
Hey, everyone applause. She lives for the applause.
Amanda Lindgren, legend.
Hey, AJ, clap your fucking hands.
I just typed in the alumni chat saying congrats.
It doesn't count.
Okay, there's the hands. Okay.
AJ hates Amanda.
Yeah.
Literally, she's so good.
Is there anyone that we haven't talked about enough and we haven't given enough love for when they inevitably view this in late June?
I would say the only person is maybe Allison. We didn't talk about a whole lot, but like Allison, I'm sorry, girl, you're not really doing a whole lot right now.
Yeah. Angelica didn't really talk about Angelica too much.
We can talk about Angelica.
I mean, obviously, she was one of those people that kind of changed her vote for the sake of, the people that were voting to keep Aware around are not the people that she wanted to work with. And she pretty much explained that significantly to everyone. And that was really Angelica's highlight for the week. But I mean, as far as the social standing goes, I think Angelica's still doing fine. I mean, not too great, but definitely not on the lower end of things.
Oh, she's doing better than she probably should, considering how she operated last week.
Yeah, she said she's going to dial it down this week. I think it was very risky for her an hour before the vote to tell Polo that O'Rear was going home and not Macy. But I think it was also smart of Polo to kind of just like keep that to himself and not blow it up an hour before the vote. Because if he did, that would have been a disaster for a lot of people. But I think Angelica is going to be one of those people that's going to be identified as a front runner and get targeted for that. It's just a matter of when and by who. I mean, once the teams end, and Angelica and Allison are both in the game, they're targeting each other. They do not like each other.
Uh-huh.
I guess we
See
didn't talk
Angelica.
about.
Go
I
ahead.
was gonna say we didn't talk about Sim too much either. But what is there to say about Sim other than he's slowly getting there?
He made good decisions in week 2, which is why he is in the top half of my rankings, because what activity level he exhibited, he made count. And so, you know what? I'm not too mad at Sim. Would I love a more active human being? Yeah. But when he was around, he had an impact.
He talked to Slade today.
How'd that go?
I didn't see
Good.
it, but
I was on the call. He basically told Slade whatever he wants him to do. He has his vote this week. And he said he wants to basically move forward with Slade as an ally. And he basically kind of broke down what happened, how they got his vote, how we voted that way, why he did. And Slade kind of like, nodded his head and like was kind of very understanding of it. And they kind of like agreed to have some kind of mutual thing between each other.
Yeah, because Slade ultimately, he sees Sim as a Victoria, Raffaele, BB16. He doesn't want to waste his HOH on a Sim. But he's also curious, and he discussed this with, I think, Angelica. He's curious how many people are going to have that same ambition, is to use their HOH to the maximum effect, to the point where Sim carries into jury. And not even just into jury, but in the long-term game.
does Sim make jury at this point?
Oh, I think so, because
I think I could see it.
I think it's extremely likely, because I think a lot of
so.
people are, the more that the game gets divisive, which last week was divisive, this week we have the minority crew from last week in power. I don't think that next week's HOH goes out of their way to nominate Sim, knowing full well that Sim will go home. I think that the next couple HOHs are going to be like, why would I use my HOH to get out Sim? And I think that's going to carry onward.
Do we think that this season is going to follow the likings of BB6?
I think it might. It definitely has the potential. I think there's just like there's more. It's not as black and white as BB6 was, where it's like side versus side. I think because like we have, I think the most complicated characters in that are like Angelica is very complicated in that. Polo is very complicated in that as well. Where it's not going to be as like clearly side versus side, but it's the most split house we've had in the series so far. I would say last season was not as split as this. I think there were like separate factions, but not like half.
And I feel like it'd be tough, especially in Brady's case right now, because he's not doing the best job at like rallying the troops. Like at first it seemed like his game plan was going to be to be kind of team loyal, which clearly does not go against Slade's notion of Team Cobalt sticking together. But it seemed like he was going to be like the captain almost and be like, I'm not going to tell them any information. And he was messaging them after that call with Slade and just like, he wanted me to give them info and I just couldn't like say anything about you guys. So he's doing this whole take one for the team, but then he's in the house chat calling out Keisha. So it's just like, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Pick a route.
Yeah. So if he's not going to have people that back him up, I don't see how this could escalate to a more of a side versus side kind of thing. So I feel like Brady kind of ruined that, especially if he keeps acting like it. But I kind of would like to see a side versus side thing.
I would love for this whole season to be side versus side.
I think Jessica has to go for it to be side versus side. I don't think Brady and Tasha would be the driving forces in that. I don't. Because I think Angelica is just going to go whoever has power at this point, which, whatever.
Is there a word for that?
A floater.
Which is exactly what she doesn't want to be.
Exactly.
Just so funny to me. Because like who else is like Macy's not really winning stuff right now. Neither is Jessica. Neither is Keisha. Neither is like Sim, and no one likes Becky. So like, what would Becky do? So like that entire side is literally just Tasha and Brady at this point.
If that's the case, if we do end up having kind of like a side versus side thing, it escalates to that. Who are the heroes? Who are the heroes right now? Like who are we rooting for?
Tasha, she's a hero.
I think Tasha has heroic intent but villainous actions. I would say the way that she buried Jess today on the call, yes, like she kind of had to, but like her and Brady were laughing about it like 15 minutes later. And they were also talking about how frustrating it was that Jessica couldn't do a wall sit when she like physically has gone through a lot recently. So, and they both know it.
How much do they know about that?
Jessica openly talked about it during the HOH.
To them?
To the house.
On the whole call, yeah.
She like couldn't do a single wall sit because of her recent pregnancy, and she had a surgery, and she was like, she asked to be eliminated from the competition. As she was getting eliminated, she explained it and was like crying.
And they both made farce of that.
It wasn't like farce, but they were both like, it's so frustrating that Jess is getting off scot-free, and she couldn't even do a single wall sit to help us out, and they were like getting frustrated with that. But they know why. So I mean, no bad intentions for that, but it's just something I'm bringing up. But I think the villainous actions mainly are the way that they just completely threw Jessica under the bus.
So, but at the same time, Jessica was hammered on call the other night saying like, I flipped this, so I did it. I am the catalyst.
That's just funny.
Yeah. So it's like, all right, well, was it one or was it the other?
What do you mean?
I mean, well, in terms of like, in terms of her involvement of how much she should be held liable in terms of who on Cobalt should go up on the block.
I don't know. I mean, that's a question for like how Slade is perceiving things too, because like Slade is really close with Macy, like of anyone on Team Cobalt, and Macy and Jessica are close, so that's like indirectly putting Jessica as safe right at the moment. I think if you take Macy out of this equation, I think Jessica could also be as heavily considered as Tasha and Brady.
I don't, it's like, so wait, so what I caught of the Macy call was that Macy said that, oh, I think that you should keep Jessica safe because of her circumstances of medically. It was nothing like in terms of why she couldn't try as hard as she could in the HOH competition. It wasn't like, oh, I think that she would be good for your game, or I think that she didn't malign you in the previous week by getting rid of O'Rear instead of me. It was, I just think that it wouldn't be like kosher to nominate her considering what she's going through at the moment.
Well, it's really interesting for you to talk to the only Jew about what's kosher and what's not kosher, but I'm not going to say anything about that.
Well, in any case, all of your answers were wrong. The hero is Keisha, and none of you said her name, and that's fine. I'm just letting you know who you should root for, and I'll let everyone else know. Keisha, I rooted for you. If you watch the hour and 19-minute mark of our week 2 roundtable one day.
I think Eric's the biggest hero, but
Eric is a hero. I agree with you there.
Eric just drunkenly talks to people and, orders Chipotle a lot and, has sippy sips with Jessica. If that's not heroic actions, I don't know.
I think Polo. I think Polo is hero edit kind of.
He has good. Yeah, he has good intentions with everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also don't. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say Macy too. Macy gives me hero energy.
I don't see it.
She's Rupert. Where it's like you.
But Rupert was on the Heroes Tribe. So.
I know, no, but I mean, like you're sweet and unassuming, but like kind of like are bumbling towards like whatever the fuck is happening. She doesn't know what she's fucking doing.
I think Macy knows more of what she's doing than Becky right now.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't argue that because Becky doesn't know what the fuck she's doing. But yeah,
That's what she has written on her whiteboard.
That's an easy comparison.
But yeah, I think moving into week 3 and with the instant and with the fast forward, I think we are in for a wild ride as production in the next 5 days. And I'm very, very, very excited. I think this is destined to be the best season we've had so far.
Yeah.
And I think we have a lot of potential with everyone left. Like anyone could win at this point, and I would be like, okay, like I would be okay with it, honestly. Like this is such a good cast of people.
Yeah.
Everyone? I mean, okay, like there are some where I'd be like, how did you win? But I wouldn't be mad about it because if they won, there was some point along the way that they were doing something right.
Yeah, if you said some, like there's a few house guests left where if you said they win the season, like you are able to tell the future and you know 100% that they won the season, I would have to be like, yeah, I'm gonna need to see everything that happened on paper up until that point because that doesn't make any sense. But I know what you mean. We could be here next week and just be like, oh my god, this is the worst season yet. Why did we cast any of these people?
Or all our winner picks could change to someone that yeah.
Dustin could lose 2 more draft picks by the end of this week.
I have to look at my draft picks. Who's on Dustin's team again?
Well, it was Shad and O'Rear, but I think Brady is also on his team.
Oh my god.
And I think Tosh is on his team. So
that's my team. My team, I have Tasha, Brady. I don't remember who else. I lost O'Rear though. I know.
Who I'm running to find my team. I cannot remember.
Dustin's final 3 members are Allison, Brady, and Tasha. So
Allison, Brady, and Tasha. Okay.
I lost O'Rear and I have Brady and Tasha on my team. Oh my god.
I've not lost anybody yet.
Cody's killing it.
I think I dropped O'Rear at the last second to pick someone else. I don't remember though.
I added O'Rear to take out someone else.
You know, we all make mistakes.
Oh, we're getting lovely comments right now. They're very heartwarming.
We'd also love nice comments.
It's good because we all bully each other.
Yeah. You don't see what happens behind the scenes.
Also, who is this?
That's
Tallest.
Tallest.
Oh, all right. How different the season would be if you were on it.
Anyways, that's it for that's.
Do you
it
just
for
have to
this
fill
week.
a quota? Talking to Tallest and everything.
I wanted him to be on.
That's it for this week.
That's it for this week. We'll be back next week to talk about everything that happened for the rest of this week.
Yeah.
And if it's anything like the first 24 hours have been, we might talk for 5 hours total on the next one. But thank you for everyone who watched live and talked in the chat. Thank you for everyone who watches this afterwards. And if you're a future house guest or a current house guest watching this in the future, I should say, oh my god, I can't believe that happened.
Yeah.
Oh my god, can you believe that happened? Congratulations.
I can't believe they said that either.
We're sorry.
Congratulations, or we're sorry, or everything.